Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aya Yadi, and I'll be your host for today. dataZen is a single platform for data quality management, governance, and master data management with multi-domain approach. Easy to configure or enable the workflow and data quality rules with very little or no programming. dataZen helps to fix the data quality issues such as duplicates, fragmentation, and inconsistency. It helps to establish the master data governance rule to create a single source of truth. Please give a warm welcome to Anbu.
Yeah, thanks, Saya. Thanks for the introduction. So my name is Anderson. So today in our session, so we are going to learn about dataZen. So the most important, we are going by step by step how we can configure the dataZen, and also, so this session is going to be about 1 hour 30 minutes. So let me go here. Today we are going to learn about the following topics. The number one, the data model configuration. So in that we are going to see data model, how to configure with the relationship. And also we are going to do UI and UX, for data governance comes into the picture. So we want to give a very simplified screens for the users to go and access it. So the very simplified screens, we are going to build it in this session. And also on top of it, I'm going to apply a couple of validation rules, augmentation rules to make sure it aligns with all the data quality. And data governance part, the governance workflow, we are going to build with the data collection, approval, and with the notification. That's what we are going to see it on this today's session. And we are going to learn, these two today's as per our agenda. So the use case I'm going to take, there are, two important roles I'm going to log in. The number one is a data architect. In this user, so I'm going to configure a data model. And on top of that, I'm going to do the master data governance. Okay. So next, the requester, who is going to request the data, and then it is going to follow through the data steward, and then it is going to be data approver or owner to approve it. Finally, the data is going to move into the golden hub, and obviously it is going to integrate with any sort of a target system. In this today's case, we are going to take a customer master as an example. And maybe one question may be raised. What is the difference between a requester and the data stewards? The requester normally for the customer master, so the salesperson or a sales team, so they'll come and request a data with a very few informations. Say for a case like they might have a contact informations and a very bare minimal informations when they create a customer, right? So, but the data stewards, they'll go and review the request and they'll enrich by manual or calling any third-party APIs or within changes APIs, they can go and enrich the data. Finally, they'll review and approve it. So meaning to that, the data stewards are users, they can go and edit a particular field. So say for instance, this case, the sales user, once they initiate the request, it will go for the data stewards in the sales manager side or financial team side. They can go and fill all remaining information, more of a vital informations like the payment terms, or bill to information or ship to information, they can fill it. And then finally, they'll go into the respective data owners. They're a special user. They'll do all sort of a data review. Take each and every field, they'll go and review the request, make sure approved, and then the flow will be flown to the next level. And the most important, it got end-to-end audit tracking. During this workflow, any changes on the particular request is happened, so that will be dragged down. Tracked entire the request travel. So all the auditor will be available, and most important notifications SLAs are available. Okay, that's the use case I'm going to take and configure it by today in our session. That's what we are going to learn. And the next one, the end-to-end data model overview here, how I'm going to configure it. The template is a very critical and a crucial one. It's going to be a jump start to create any data model. So from a changes perspective, so we are always keep on saying that no code, low code. So this is where the template began the scene, got all the informations. So I'm going to build customer master here, that particular template. hold about, the objects, object fields like customer name, customer type, and inside that, that particular customer name, what is the length it is going to be, and what sort of a data type it is going to hold. So all these informations are going to be there inside the template. From the template, all these, the major objects like lookup objects, nothing but the referential data, customer type, country, and the state or price list. So these, the reference data will be created automatically, and also inbounds will be synchronized. Number two, the main master object, nothing but customer master, customer address, contact. All these, the master objects will be, driven or created based on the template. And number three is going to be most important. Another one is a request object. The request object is going to be given to the requesters. They can come and request the data, right? So that object also, it is going to be extracted or inherited from the template. So the template is, the jumpstart for this configuration. I already have a template which is installed one of the instance. That's what we are going to see it. So without, the further delay, I don't want to go further to the PPT. So let's go and practice in the system. And I'll go teach you, you can learn it step by step to understand what is the process we are going to follow. I'm going to log in as a dataZen admin user. I'll go and open up a template here. So the template already is deployed. So I'm going to open up this particular template. Let's see here. And then I'll go into the list and open up this particular attribute. So during, the installation of this dataZen product, the templates as a part, it will be installed, and we can go and use this template to extract and create all the data models from here. Let me take open up this summary quickly. This summary, gives pretty much, what is this template all about. Say for instance, so in this particular address object, I have several attributes related to the address. Address 1, address 2, city, state, everything you can see. I scroll down a bit, so let me go and open up or bring the address 1 element. You can see it here. This particular one label is going to be say address line 1, and is that a record mandatory or not? Currently, the template says no. But when we configure object using this template, where we can go change it from a no record from we need a mandatory, we can turn it on. And the field type and what is the length is going to be, or it's going to be a read only just for the vendor number or a party number, customer number. So those fields can be read only, who no one can edit, right? So those fields we can mark it as a read only, and got all the help text too. Okay, this is how the template will be deployed. And let me go to the first step. So the template we saw it here. Let me go inside the design studio, and using this plus symbol. And most important, as I stated earlier, I'm using this particular user got the data architect user permission, which enables to me to go and configure it. So when you try your own, so just make sure your user got the data architect the access permission, you can configure it. Now I'm going to enter the data here. Customer master BC. So this particular one, I'm going to create a step one. I'm going to create a customer master data model. So everything is driven by the wizard. Simple next steps. We are going to fill all the left side workflows. Like the first, we are going to complete the data model. Step 2, we are going to create objects. Third, we are going to apply all the UI UX. And then fourth, further down, we are going to complete all the workflows. Everything is driven by the wizard. Let me go one by one. The step 1, just enter the data of data model. Okay. Now I can go into the next step. So it's going to ask the very first object. So the object nothing but a customer, and then I'm going to configure the next object as an address. So I'm going to pick it from the template. So the template what we saw in that, all right. So the same I'm going to use it. Customer master. And I'm going to give the name as customer info BC. The display name, I can put a better name. Customer info B's. So the B easy, I'm just appending because of the B connect. I want to know tied up with that webinar. So just copy it. I'm going to maintain customer related info object. And is this an address object? No, this is just a master object. I'm going to say save and go to the next. So here, so just a one foundation attribute, which is there, customer address reference by default with the auto numbering, nothing but the primary key and the auto sequence. There are two ways we can add attributes. One, I can pick it from my design palette. So from the scratch, I can build, the columns like, I want to add a customer type. I can use a lookup or a drop down where I can create it, or I can go here from the template. So I'm going to use the template, click customer attribute template. I'm going to choose all the sections, customer info, account profile, everything is here. I'm going to choose all. And here, there are 61 fields are taken out from this template. So instead of I can remove or add anything, so I'm going to take off AC status and a header status. I don't want to be. So just of 59 fields, it is going to be moved. Just going to apply it. After a few seconds, the one of our object is ready from the design. Let's go and take a look at that. It's pretty easy, we can configure these objects. So you can see the field type text and the data type are here. Let's take a look at this account type edit, and you can see it here. The group name is going to be the account information group name, nothing but the section name. Like under the section, we can see a group of fields. Okay. The help text says the receivables lookup code for the customer type. It got a clear, when user comes in, they can see, this particular help text when they enter the data. Okay. And all the necessary informations are here. And if you want to edit something, still, this is the place we can edit or change anything. And most important, so I completed everything. The customer master data is completed in the dev environment, and then we moved, the code is migrated through check-in, checkout to the prod environment. Now the question, so can I add more attribute on this? Yes, anytime. Okay, we have to take only, in development state, then we can, complete it. So currently I'm going to deploy it. It is asking me, this is the parent object or not? Yes, this is the parent object. Under that, I'm going to add a customer address object. Okay. So what happens, when we migrated from a dev to the prod, now I want to add additional fields. Yes. So we can come over here in the development environment and change it from deployment status into the development status. Then it is allow us to add any field, or if you want to enable or change any fields, that we can do. That's the flexibility of our, this changes platform offers to add or remove any fields at any given time. Okay. And number two, I'm going to add one more object, which is so it's already in a deployed status, so we can see the green turn signal is on, just to make sure in the first step we completed. I hope you learned this. And number two, I'm going to add one more object, which is address object. I just press the plus symbol here. Now I can go into the address template, pick the address template, and give address info name. The display name, I'm going to say address info is just keep it uniform. I'm just keeping it DEC here. And this is going to be my address information. Okay. And I'm going to turn on this particular flag, is address object. Yes. So what it is going to enable for me that, all the address standardization automatically will come. Okay. I don't want to go apply any explicit one. So the address standardizations will be, started. I mean, I can apply it when I enable this particular one flag. Now I go to the same step, like go to the attribute template and pick it just to select, and the same step. So currently it's holding 29 fields on this particular template. I'm going to choose everything and to say move. If you go and apply it, that's it. So now all these fields are available over here. Okay. Now, first we completed the customer, and now we are building, the address. The simple step again deployed. So we can build. So now maybe the question, we can build how many objects can we build it over here? So there is no limit actually. So one of our existing instance, we've gone through almost 19 to 21 objects actually with a multiple and multi-level. Okay, we can configure any number of objects. Now, the story we are going to give the relationship between these two objects. The hierarchy I'm going to build here just to say add relationship. I'm going to put customer as BC, and I'm going to choose the relative object, say relationship object for customer and address. Okay. And this is the most vital flag here. We need to make sure that, either it's going to be a one or too many, or zero or many, one to one, or zero or one. Okay. So in case, in this particular object, customer and address always going to be one or many. In sometimes, so there are objects, data is going to be one to many relations, then we can choose only one. So now this particular case, I'm going to choose one or many. Just hit the save. That's it. So the relationship is built, and I'm going to build this particular one. The build is done. I'm going to deploy it. So during this time, so what did happen? It is a make sure, all the relationship tables, everything will be built begin the scene. Okay, for a customer address and the relationship. So if you noted that, in a traditional RDBMS system, usually we'll go and give, customer ID, in the customer master, and address also is must have, customer ID. You can see there, I haven't put any mapping, but intelligent way, the system itself can identify and it can relate it. So that's how it made it. And I haven't explicitly went and gave any relationship. So that's how our tool is built up. Now the step number 2 is done. Number 1, in the data model side, objects are configured, and step number 2, object directory is done. Now we are moving into the next. I'm just going and click the wizard to the next one. Obviously, it is taking me to the next level, enabling search and list string. Okay. So here already we have many fields are activated. I'm just, there are options here. We can move to the right, top, left. We can do it. The currency, I want to keep it top, and account number, I want to move a little top, and the customer type, I want to move it a little top. I can do that. And also the list enabled. I can go here and save it. So it is promising, the display address changed. So please apply the change. Okay. I'm going to say yes, succeed. Now I'm going into the list. Same way, I'm going to pick account number, and in the customer information, I'm going to pick organization name, DUNS number, customer type. So like, maybe I can go in further down. I can choose allow discount. Okay. And plus symbol. So now 6 fields are selected here. Let's go and take a look at the address. So address, everything is there. I'm going to add additional fields here to the address one, city, country. Maybe we can add anytime. So that much of flexibility we can configure. So when we do configuration for business demand, say I want these fields to be enabled. This is a one place we can come and enable. Search page will be ready. And just simply press the deploy. Done. So step 3 also we've done it, like the search and list page is ready for both objects. Now we go into the next one, the data view screen. So the data view is a landing screen in requester, after search the customer. So what are fields they are going to view it. So usually I don't keep any sensitive data or the most important data in this part, just a generic information like account number, or customer number, something, that's the few fields I usually keep it. I don't give, much information for the users to go and view it. Let's take, I can put the profile class and the account type. Okay. And the address, I'm going to enable very few fields like address 1, city, country. I don't want to enable more than that. Just add it. That's it. So here there is a one flag. If you notice that enables like So the UI, you want to know this is going to be a one-to-many. So then if I choose this flag, what will happen? It will convert, the data blocks into the grid pattern. So I'm going to choose this and save. That's it. Now the step is over here. Let me quickly, go back here. Okay. So as per our agenda, okay. So we done, these two important part, data model relationship and UI design and UX design. That's what we have done it now. And now the next part, I'm going to do some validation of the augmentation rules. Before that, let me go here, go by the wizard. And if you see that, the audit trial, the augmentations, pop-up configuration, pop-up restrictions. So for this, today's learning process, so I'm going to little skip it, and I'm more happy to answer all your questions after this session and more focus. Let me jump it quickly on this wizard and go into the request object to build the request object. We'll go and use the press. I think it's pretty super easy to configure the steps. There are 4 steps, we've done it. And the 5th step, we are configuring the request object. Now I go into the request object and give a name, same name and the display name pattern. I'm going to say customer request BEC. And also this is going to be customer info request object. Okay. And say request page for end users. All right. So now I'm go here. I don't want to choose, a questionnaire. If we want to enable, we can enable it. I'm going to say no. And are we going to allow record sharing with anyone? No, I don't want to share my draft. So I'm going to say no. And save this process. It's success. Now I can get into this request object. So I'm going to add all the fields. So irrespective of, I don't want to restrict, I'm going to give my salesperson to go and request all the fields. Even if I want to restrict, I can do it here. And that customer object is done. Now I'm adding an address object. The step is over. Simple. I'm going to build and deploy it. So the relationship, it is coming for the request object side. It says request info and the address info. It says one-to-many relationship. It's good to go. I'm going to build it. The build is started. It's going to create a page. It's already done. And I'm going to deploy it. This is done. And the UI side, I can do little layout customization here. So let's go and, a customer information, I want to be at the top. Yes, it is there. Like a customer number, organization. I want to just move this field a little top. And the customer category can be next, and the DUNS number. I want to keep a customer type to be in the top. So what I'm doing here, the field alignment and the section alignment. Let's keep, the account information move into the little top. Okay. And select if I want to give any footer messages to the user. What is this purpose for this section? I can give it with the font size. We can increase, or you want to put us different colors into that. Also, the particular section, how the fields layout you want to be, either a 1x1 or 2x2 or 3x3. So I'll just keep it, 3x3 as a default one. Let's go and save it. And the same way, I'm going to just check address information. I'm going to move this address group is fine. Address site information. I want to move to the first, and that address line 1, 2, 3 supposed to be moved to the top, and 4 little align. And then I want to keep the country should become at the first. So that's it. So now I'm going to save it and build it. So the layout we are building here, the UI side, this is done. And now I can go to the request object one more time. From there, I'm going to the next level, step number 5. So we done a request object, and then we completed the layout assignments. Go here and the activities. So what are activities we want? So what is basically activity meant to be? So can I create a new request or a modify request? So meaning to that, can I introduce a new customer or can I modify the existing customer? Okay. So these two activities are going to be identified and enable the new request and the modify request. I'm going to say this is the one activity. I'm going to keep it as a new request. Just to change a few names here. See, and you can see the important info, like, when I create a new request, where my landing screen it should go. So before I create any request for the customer, do I need to search it before the data is exist or not? Or if I straight away landing on the new screen, so I don't want to search anything. So always I want to go to my creation screen to build to enter the data. So, but the better, the approach from the architect side, we need to think and provide up, we need to enable this search option so that business can go and search before either that particular data is exist or not, then they can go into the new request. Okay. So now I go and save this particular one. This is edited. And the same way, I'm going to, edit the next one, the modify request. So the modify request, obviously, it's supposed to go and land on only to the search screen. I don't want to change it. Cool. And I'm going to change this display name a little better. Enrich customer. Okay. So instead of a modify, I'm going to say enrich customer. And also it's a couple of flags. If you note it down here, are we going to enable a bulk for this request process or not? That's what, we are doing. Oh, here is bulk enabled or is, in-screen edit is enabled. So these two flags are meant to be bulk request and bulk edit options. If you want, we can enable it. But for this today's course, we are not going to focus on that part. So one-on-one request we are going to create. I'm just going to let it be there. Save that. So now the activity is done. Go back to the wizard. And sixth step, request object is done and activity is done. And now I'm going to, choose either, one of a system. So what that means, like, MDM is all about bringing a data and consolidate and do the data quality, everything. So these are the systems are, already we configured as an inbound system. So we can, tie up this particular customer master, where all we are going to bring the data, either from Oracle or SAP or any sort of ERP systems, where we are going to bring this particular data for the customer master. So that we can go and choose it. So I'm going to choose maybe the MDM and Lansing APL STG. Choose it. And say next. Next to the inbound process, so we chosen two connections if you note it down on the previous process. One is on the Oracle, another one is a data mart, PostgreSQL big data. So and create inbound over here. Like the source system, I'm going to choose APL DSTG. Give a one better name, customer info BEC, and display name customer info BEC. All right. So activity I have to choose. That's it. This is what we created for a new request and the enrich customer activities. Just to press save. Cool. Now we can go to the mapping side. So the mapping, nothing but the source connection is already established on the data object, which is exists. Then we can go and choose it here. There are several data objects which are there. I'm going to choose for the customer account, customer to the customer DO. I'm going to map it. Just simply click the mapping in. There is a one file. It says it's validating against the one of a field from the extract. It says a string. But it's stored as a int in MDM, so that field is not mapped. You can see there it's marked as red. You can skip it, and the rest all fields are mapped over here. And next we can go to the unique column mapping. So for a customer, I'm going to choose account number as a unique. We are well aware of the Oracle side. The account number is going to be unique part for the particular partner or the customer. Say the next object is going to be the customer address. Same way, I'm going to choose a data object from the lookup address object. Simply map by name. The address is matched. Okay. Still, I can see that the address 1, address 2 is not matched. Just simply click, map it. Quickly, it is added. Address 2, address to. That's it. Now we can go and do the unique column mapping. For this case, site number is going to be my unique, and parent column is going to be my party ID with a customer account number. I'm going to map it. So this is where we are giving a relationship for the incoming record. Say for instance, we are bringing from SAP or a different system, maybe just maybe a different relationship to map, right? So this is the area we are going to map it, but not on the MDM data model. MDM data model is going to be very flattened structure. We can bring a number of sources of data, and through the system and the mappings, the data tracking is going to happen. Okay, simply I'm going to build it. It is done. So now let's go back to this inbound. Inbound is done. So now we are good, and I can go here to the outbound views. So what it meant to be. So the integration part, once the data is comes to the MDM golden hub, the data needs to be published or integrated into the target systems. So these are the views readily available. We can go and map against the loader. Once data is created, automatically synchronized whatever newly created record that will go into the target system. So these are the views which is defaulted or created automatically in the MDM data model. So we can start using. Still, we want to use or edit something, we can do that too here. Just to change from deployment status small colors in development, and we'll get a provision to go and edit it. Okay. Now another part. So the workflow, that's the most important part. Okay. The records governance. So the records governance, I'm going to give, there are three workflows that we can see: records governance, data quality process, and the data governance. Okay. Almost we completed 7 steps. If I put it in a way: data model, objects, and field function, search, list, and data view, and then the request object and the activity. Inbound is a one-off process. We configured. It's pretty quick. Map by name with the data object is ready. We can bring the data into the MDM for data quality. And most important, that this is the 8th step. We are going to do that. The business process management request governance. I'm going to give a one quick name here: workflow underscore BEC underscore request governance. So the name is provided, and now we can see the activities, different activities. Okay, so I can send the data from this workflow to the quality process, or I can send the data to the data governance process. So this time I'm going to say data governance process. Just simply say that's it, and build and deploy. Pretty cool. Now the one-off step on the 8th is done. The records governance over. Now I'm going into the quality process. It's a very simple, the same steps we are going to follow over here too. It's not going to ask much questions. As an architect, before coming to this particular configuration, we came to know that how are my the data needs to be traveled through. Either needs to go through the quality process or just a governance process. So we can quickly configure it. And comes to this is a data quality process side. I'm going to do the configuration. Now we can see the list of activities. So there are Humpty activities are here, like email notifications, filter, match merge, and move to governance. Everything is here. So time being, just we complete the data governance part as focused today. And let me do that. The data needs to move to the governance, or let's put it, data supposed to move to the hub directly without any governance. Save. That's it. Simple step again, build, deploy. That's it. Now, in the wizard, we can go to the next process as a final one, data governance part. Almost we are edge, so we are going to complete all the configurations. I'm going to do this WFBEC data governance part. Go to the next process. Here also different activities which is available. I can go and do the data collection. So according to this, our the PowerPoint, let me go here. According to our PowerPoint, in this user case, so the requester, and then it's supposed to go to the data steward and then go to the data approver. So the data steward is nothing but the data collection. This is the activity. Data collection is the activity we need to configure. Okay. So data collection. So the email will be notified to the respective user where we are going to choose it. So subject, I'm going to say temporary mandate information. And I'm going to choose a single or parallel. So we can choose either a type, I want to introduce, multiple persons to participate this particular request on the workflow or not. So this time for this, I'm going to choose a single. Such it, I'm going to put dataZen admin as a user to the two. Save this process. And one is done. And second one, as per the workflow, we need to put approval activity. So I'm going to drag and drop. Approval is put up. So you can see there are three branches comes: approved, rejected, and rework. Okay. So I'm going to say approval component. And here also there are a few additional types you can see: single, parallel, hierarchical, and dynamic. So the dynamic, the most, at times used all our existing designs. So you can understand that, the based on the runtime variables or runtime data, so we can decide which workflow or which user we need to decide to go for a approval. Okay, that we can configure. So this time I'm going to stay static way of sending approval. Message is approved, and subject world notification. And the same way, I'm going to choose the same user for the demo. dataZen. So everything is completed, just to save. And after approval, so what we need to do, like, either if you want to send one more approval, we can drag and drop on top of it, or if not, so we can, in this particular case, I'm going to move the record into the hub once it is approved. Okay, so save it. And for the request is rejected, what need to do? Like, we want to send a notification just to say that, request rejection is going to happen. That's it. Okay. Same step, build and deploy. Okay. So quick recap here, as per today's, the learning. So there are 8 to 9 steps we learned. One is, what is template to, from the template, how we can configure the objects, then object directory with the relationship, and UI models with the search, data view, and the request object with the, layouts. And then we configured the activity inbound, outbound process is automatically configured. And the workflow, very minimal workflow we configured. Let's go and check, to deploy our final release to go for the business users. So we can check it over here in this one single page to confirm and deploy. And everything is deployed state, and I can go and press this button deploy, which means this particular object is ready to use by the business users. Okay. So until that point, if before, so no one could able to come and raise or insert any requests. Okay. Now the data architect portion is done. I will go and enable this particular data model to the responsibilities. We go here and quickly search. So customer master BEC and data. So the responsibility I'm going to give. So the MDM, we all know that, very secured way the data capture and the data is going to be maintained. So here a list of the access permissions, who can do what. The data architect, I'm still going to say can design, I also can view the data. For the data owner, I can say data approve and can request no and view the record. And requester can only request the data, cannot do anything, and they can view the data too. For the data steward, I'm going to say can edit the record, and the can collect the data, also can view the record. So data as an architect, I'm going to keep that user also as a that responsibility also as a request user. That's it. So last but not least, I'm going to release this particular data model into the users data model sharing. So let's go and find out the data model one more time. Customer master, BEC is there. And let's take a look data Zen architect, sorry, the admin. So here, additionally, I need to give who can do what. So can this particular user, that's the user I'm currently logging in, dataZen admin. I'm going to choose dataZen admin can view the data and collect the data, request the data, and design the data object and approve it, can execute, can copy, or can delegate to. Everything can be possible for this user. I'm going to choose in this particular user can create a both new request as well as modify request. Yes, that also we can control by here. Okay, now it's good. Let's go and see as a end user, as a requester. Let me go here to the Design Studio. And this particular object, we can see it at today's date. It's in a deployed status and created by dataZen admins. We have done it actually. So you learned everything, how to configure the particular data model with a simple governance. Let's go and, as an end user, as a business user, how they are going to request it. So the page, everything is ready now with proper alignment with the UI UX. Now I can go here using this new request option. So the new request, how we configure the search screen. So the search screen is here. The variety of options with the contains equal, not equal, blank, not blank, begins with, ends with, everything. I can search it. So there are no records are found. So there is a button is enabled. Now I can go here to the new request. The request screen will be come over here. So the request reason, request number, request type, everything is here, and that organization number, name, everything is we can see it. Let me go and do this request. First request. Great. So we are almost okay. I'm going to say that customer type going to be organization, and dance number I'm going to say A12345. That's it. I'm going to say save. Draft number is created. That's really cool. And we can go and add address over here. Site number I can say location says Lansing 1, and the country I can choose USA. Maybe United States. And address line 1 325 West Clinton Street. Okay, just to say, as a sales user, I'm just putting very few entries. I haven't put much of entries here. Let's collector user come and collect other things. Let's do the validate. Pretty cool. I'm going to submit this request. Request submitted, and request is created, and it is waiting for in collection status. Okay, the collection user also we gave the same user. It is waiting for pending for collection and approve. In this particular UI, I can go and take a look at this particular request number. When this user had created the particular request, so we can see everything in one single screen and with the proper activities. So the request submit and the workflow, we can see collection, approval, and then finally it is going into the Moto Hub. Okay. Now I'm going and edit it, this particular one. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to say that account type internal, save, close, and then address, I'm going to edit it. So because most of the parameters are not filled, and I'm going to say that those fields here, city says Lansing, and the postal code is 48837. Those two informations are filled and close and validate. Simple data is collected. And I'm going to say submit. It's pretty cool. We have completed everything and it is waiting for a final approval. Let's take a look at this particular request number one more time. The last action done by dataZen admin and the activities we can see here, how long this particular user took a time. Like just a 1 minute, we completed everything. And these are, we need to build all the SLAs. So when you do configuration, you have to keep in your mind. So if you want to build a SLA, so you have the data over here, you can start building from there. Now I can go to the approval to approve it. So the approval user, usually what they'll do, they'll compare the data, what was raised, and is where a comparison will be here. Account type is changed, and the rest all looks good. I can close it. Also the same here, I can compare it. So the postal code and the city, these two were we additionally added during the collection part. So that indicated over here, good to go. I can do three things: rework, reject, and work, approve. That's what how we enable the workflow. The same way the buttons are appeared over here. So that when I approve, it will go to the hub. So I'll approve it. So it says please validate it. I'm going to say validate and give a approve. This is cool. So now the data is went into the hub. Let's check it. Search master data. Search. You see here the data is available with the copy option. So the copy option also we enabled from here. So we can create a new record as a one more additional record. So with the mandate information we need to fill when we create a new request. Okay. And so let me park it here sometime for Aya. Do you have any questions this time?
Thank you so much for showing us this hands-on training. I learned a lot from it. Let me go ahead and ask some questions. Give me 2 seconds real quick. How can you enable the bulk upload and update in dataZen?
Oh, good question. So today we learn about the one-on-one request. So the bulk, there is a setup in the dataZen itself. So where I can go and so quickly at same design studio. And we have a section called mass data loading. So where we can go and enable inline field setup. And also here you can see bulk upload, bulk update, and bulk edit. So we can configure which are fields you want to go and edit or update either by Excel or by in-screen. So everything can be configured over here. Similar way, the wizards will be here. You can quickly go and enable it. So both one-on-one request as well as bulk request. So anything can be enabled over here in this the screen with no program. Thank you for the question.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for that. The next question is, how does the publisher integration help improve the data quality in terms of duplicate check?
Wow, that's a great question. Thanks for the question. The publisher integration enables to talk to any third-party systems, like we want to talk to Dun& Bradstreet or Google, or for the Ascent or any data companies we want to talk. So this is will send the data to the respective endpoints and gather the data. Also, if you want to do internally, you want to check a duplicate. Say, for instance, I'm creating a changes. I want to go and validate that particular data within already configure. I mean within the stored data in the hub. That also we can do through publisher integration. That's a powerful the feature we must enable. Thanks for the question to answering that actually. So we must enable in all our the configuration, the publisher integration to make sure the data quality side of duplicate check along with it make sure the standardization also. Yeah. Thanks, Saya.
The next question is, how does delegation work in approval workflow?
Yeah. So without that, like the delegation, so the workflow won't end. So we have a the delegation option in the admin module. So where we can go and delegate. So the delegate can be many formatted actually. Sorry. So the one format I can say when a user going for a vacation, so they may hold, the responsibility of a data approval in multi levels. Okay. So you can delegate at the first level or a second level or a third level. If not, so you can delegate the entire activity to the one particular user also, you can do it. So both the ways, each activity by user or entire, whichever responsibility held by that particular user can delegate to the other user. So both can be possibility by admin screen. Look at over here. Thank you. Thanks for the question.
Interesting. Okay. The next question I have is, can augmentation enables to hide the entire object for a particular condition?
Wow. Yeah. My take on it. So sometimes the requester, they don't want to fill any address object or a contact object. So they just want to see only the customer object alone. Okay. That sort of a circumstances, we can even hide the entire object, not showing by to the user and based on the conditions. So there are two restrictions I would like to highlight here. One is the data restrictions. So we can hide, particular data like if a person as a user logs in from the United States operating unit, he can see only that, the customers, we can, do that. If a person II is joining and, he can be able to see entire, operating unit data. So that also possible, like, the both the ways. Entirely we can hide the one single, entirely hide the object, or within an object, we can restrict the records. So both are possible with the augmentation. Yes, thank you.
And last question I have, or there is in UI screen, can you enable any languages other than English?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes. Then, the MDM, we are going to integrate with multiple sources of data, right? And it is going to be a global product when you integrate with many source systems or many downstream systems, right? So that time, the sales team or the approval users or the collector, so everyone, they can be, it's a collaborative way we are going to collect the data. So if a respective user login from their, regional, so the language will be automatically changed. So if a person requested the data from the United States, they can see it in English. When it comes to, the Germany, someone needs to approve or collect the data, of the labels and the screen lookouts, everything will be changed into the German, so that that particular person can understand and, contribute the data. So that is possible. And also the data translation also, like comes to the case of, the lookup data. So if I choose a customer type as the internal and external, so if a person enters internal, so when German or from the different regional language, another person logs in, so they can see the data on their own language. Okay, so this particular, the Zen supports globally for different languages. We have almost tested with major all the languages today. And it works very well for different languages other than English. 100% I can say this is the I-18 enabled platform. Thanks, Aya, for those questions.
That's pretty cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for giving this hands-on training, you and Prakash. We really appreciate it. Thank you to the audience for joining us today. And I hope everyone has a great night.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Aya, for putting up this call.
Bye-bye.